Now I want to take you through another variation of a full body harness that can be applied to the unconscious victim. Again, whether that victim is a civilian or a downed firefighter. This version is entirely different than the one that we showed you in part 2. Instead of attaching your system to the harness at waist level, with this variation we're attaching to the harness behind the victim's head. And the reason for this is when you're dealing with an unconscious victim, you want to try to keep them in a vertical position as much as possible throughout the extraction and the lower. Now, this harness has quite a few advantages. Number one is we can apply it to a victim in one of two positions, with the victim laying on their back or on their stomach. Which orientation or position that we apply the harness to the victim in is going to be based on the situation at hand. Now, if you follow exactly what I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to apply this harness in the fastest, most efficient means possible. And that's what we're looking for ideally, especially with the unconscious victim. We want to get them out as quickly and as efficiently as possible. That's paramount. One thing I want to mention before we get started. I'm obviously in my full protective equipment. I'm a big believer in practice like you play, but I recognize, just like anyone else, that can be inconvenient at times. But one thing that I want to recommend, at the very least, wear your firefighting gloves when you're practicing this drill. It's a lot more challenging than if you are working barehanded or practicing with a leather rappel glove. We all know that you lose a lot of dexterity wearing your bulky firefighting gloves, so you want to try to recreate the situation that you're going to be encountering in the field. And it's going to make you more proficient in the long run. Now, in this first demo, I'm going to be simulating the unconscious civilian. So they're laying on their back, the common denominators, even if they're on their stomach, feet are going to be facing the extraction point. This is the victim that I'm able to lift and manage all by myself. I'm going to be lifting this victim up and they're going to be going out head first at the extraction point. The other thing that's similar is how we want to set the victim up. So besides where the feet are positioned, we also want to have the body in what I would like to refer to as almost like the perfect anatomical position. In other words, I don't want a leg way off like this and an arm way off like that. When you get the victim situated, take a moment to get the legs parallel, slight gap in between the legs, arms down by the side, slight gap away from the body. It's going to make applying this harness a lot faster, a lot more efficient if you take those few extra steps. The other thing that's going to be the same is I'm always going to be facing the victim's feet, whether they're on their stomach or on their back like the victim is here. I want to take position where I'm roughly, my feet are roughly at the victim's knees. And I want to have my feet wide enough so that I can slide past the victim's arms. I don't want to be stepping on the victim at all. Once I'm in that position, I'm going to come and release my webbing. Remember, I have that modified quick release. I'm going to release the webbing. I'm going to pull it off to my side, to my right. I drop it. I come back to the water knot, which is the way I'm holding the carabiner is closest to the victim's body. I grab that water knot and I offset it at arm's length. And then I let go of it again. Now what I want to do is take my right hand. You'll notice how I'm never letting go with my left. So my left always becomes my landmark. I'm going to come in between the webbing. I'm going to reach to the victim's left leg. I'm going to pull up on the foot and I want to bring that webbing that's closest to the ground underneath the left leg. And you want to get it underneath the cuffs of the pants. That's really important. So if they have really baggy pants like bell bottoms, you want to make sure you draw past that and get that lower webbing loop almost by the calf. Then you can set the left leg down on top of it. Now I come back to my left hand. And this is important. I'm coming to the webbing that's closest to me. Not down here, the webbing that's on top. And I'm going to grab this webbing. Now I will take a little extra step and just turn the carabiner so I'm actually controlling the webbing with my left hand at the same time. I'm going to bring this webbing now and I'm going to go underneath the right leg. And the same thing. I want to bring it underneath the cuffs of the pants and get it to about calf level. Then I can set that leg down. Now look at my left and right hand. Carabiner is still the same. That gate opening is down or to the middle of the body. Cradling it with my thumb, index, and middle finger. I'm grabbing the right side with an underhand grip. And I'm actually starting to go past the victim's legs or arms. I'm shimmying the webbing up. And And you'll notice now, if you look in between the victim's legs, you can kind of see the water knot. So that's kind of roughly where I want it, right in the middle of the legs. I need to get low at this point, and I'm going to shimmy the webbing up. So the webbing that's closest to the ground, I need to get underneath the victim's thighs and underneath the victim's butt. So I'm kind of seesawing it up to draw it as high as I can. At the same time, if you look at my right and left hands, I'm balancing out the webbing right at the top of the head. Now, here's the next thing that I do, is I'm going to turn the webbing. So I'm going from an underhand grip and an overhand grip, and at the same time I'm turning the carabiner. This takes a lot of practice to be able to get this carabiner in that twist, to be able to incorporate it as you twist the webbing over into an overhand grip. Now you're going to see there's an X on my left and an X on my right. Now, if you want to maximize the speed and efficiency of this harness, this is the best way to do it. Take the webbing now, bring those X's past the hands. So I'm bringing them past, and you can see it's kind of tough with the webbing bunched up, but the X is there and the X is there. I'm going to grab the victim's fingers now, and as I lift the arms up, you'll see how the X's get drawn up underneath the elbows. Once you have that, you can let the arms drop. And I let the arms flare out to the side a little bit so they don't drop in between these other loops. Now you'll see that I have an X in the middle and an X on each side. That's optimum. That's your fastest deployment and way to fasten this webbing around the lower legs and the arms. But that can be challenging in zero visibility. So right now we're almost at the point of finishing. I'm going to show you a slight variation here to make sure that you capture the arms. Webbing's balanced. Flip the carabiner and the webbing over into an overhand grip. And now, to make sure that you capture the arms, I'm still going to bring the X's back, but now I reach over to one side, so I'm reaching over to the left side with my right hand, and I'm bringing the arm up to make sure that I capture it. And then I flare the arm off to the left. See, I'm still in the overhand grip. I don't know if you can see it, but the X is still there. I come over here, I grab this hand, pull the webbing up, and now I know I've made sure that I capture it. Now the next step is finishing. Now because this evolution, this method is for the single firefighter rescue, which means that this victim is of a size and weight that I can lift them up all by myself. The victim's going to go out head first. And because of that, it's imperative that this harness is sized tight and securely to the victim. You want it actually tighter than if this victim was on their stomach. Because when they're on their stomach, they stay in that upright position. They go out feet first on their stomach. Because this victim's going out inverted, I want to make sure that they don't rotate out of the harness. So here's where the one extra step is involved with the victim lying on their back as compared to lying on their stomach. See, I got the webbing. I'm going to come up and I'm going to grab, I'm going to try to, I don't know how well you can see this, but I'm going to hang on to the webbing. At the same time, I'm going to come to the victim's shoulders and I'm going to sit the victim up now. So basically what I'm doing is I'm almost folding them over like a piece of bread. As you fold them over, what this is going to allow you to do is when you finish behind the victim's head, you're going to be making this harness super tight on them. Because I'm going to lay them back down into a totally horizontal position, and this harness is really going to bite on them. So as I do that, one of the things that you can do is take your legs and pinch the torso. So I'm basically squeezing the torso at the chest level and keeping them folded over. Now, if you kept that carabiner in that position, as I showed you, and that's the toughest thing, is rotating that carabiner so it's right there readily available. If I'm in zero visibility, there's first of all, you have one of two ways of finishing. If I'm in zero visibility, I like to twist. So with that carabiner opening down, I just snap the webbing right in. The beauty of this is I'm able to do that and landmark it when I can't see. Now I'm going to grab the carabiner and I'm going to start pulling on it as I'm making exaggerated twists. So I'm making big full twists. At the same time, I'm pulling up on the webbing. I keep pulling on it, keep pulling on it. Oh, so I'm pulling this away from the victim's body. And that's cinching it up underneath the arms, behind the shoulders. You keep drawing that up And now once this bite, as you keep drawing it up, you're creating a little bit of gap, you twist. Once this twist mark gets close to the body, that's usually sufficient. I'm going to take a finger and I'm going to pull them over, see if you can see this. I'm going to clip it right here, but what you're trying to do is capture the top and bottom. So I snap this carabiner in. Now, if I'm doing primary deployment, my hitching slot of my flash would be clipped in here so I wouldn't lock off. If I'm going to be doing the burn technique, I lock this carabiner off right away. Now watch what happens. As I bring this victim down into a horizontal position, you actually, even though this is a training mannequin, you can actually see, I think you can kind of see him in torso, how this is really, really cinching down. On a conscious victim, it would be pulling up in between the legs at the crotch area and really cinching up on the shoulders. This is what maximizes the secureness of this harness, by folding that victim over when you're finishing. So the first method in zero visibility is that twist method. Let me show you the second method now. And now, instead of clipping in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lace knot. This works better in good visibility, and some firefighters prefer it. They think it's a little faster. The problem is you may have to let go of the webbing at one point in time. You don't have as much control, so in bad visibility you could lose it. But basically what you're doing is you're starting, just like you would tie your shoes, you're doing what I refer to as a lace knot. So I'm coming over, hand exchange, and I'm coming through, and here's that first lace. I cinch it up on the body, and now, ideally, you're going to do some semblance of a square knot. If it doesn't turn out to be a perfect square knot, it's no big deal. But when I got this much extra, I'm going to put another bite on the webbing which secures it. Now I like to refer to these loops, you see here, as dog ears. You always want to capture these just as redundancy. So I drop it in, and then I always want to get the carabiner close to the body. So it's more evident on this finish than it is on the twist. You can see the top and you can see the bottom going over the shoulders and underneath. I'm going to take the carabiner, I'm going to connect both of those, and same thing. Primary deployment, I leave the carabiner open to attach the hitching slot. Secondary deployment, a burn technique, I like to lock this one off right away. And then I can connect the backside or terminal end carabiner right here, or connect it right to the adjacent side of the harness. This one doesn't get quite as tight on the victim when we lay him back, but still you can see how he's folding up here, and it's still driving up in between the legs. It's still very, very secure. So be proficient in each one, and it's your decision on which one you prefer. Twist, great for zero visibility and getting it super tight on the victim. Lace knot sometimes works, can be a little faster depending on how big the victim is or how small the victim is. It can be faster than doing all those twists, but you can lose the webbing in zero visibility. Now I'm going to demonstrate fastening the exact same harness with the victim lying on their stomach. This harness is almost identical to the victim laying on their back. Still going to have the feet facing the extraction point. Still want the victim in somewhat of an anatomical position. Legs parallel, slightly separated, arms next to the side. Even though this is a firefighter wearing an SCBA, the way I'm going to apply this harness is exactly the same if this was just a civilian. The SCBA doesn't really cause me any problems. The harness goes right around it. If anything, it might pose a slight entanglement hazard when I'm going to capture the arms. But everything's identical. How I apply this harness to a victim lying on their stomach, whether it's a civilian or a firefighter. It's actually easier, probably a little bit faster than applying a harness to a victim laying on their back, because I have that one less step. I don't have to sit the victim up. So I don't have to worry about getting this super tight. The victim's going to be going out feet first on their stomach, right over the extraction point, right over the edge of the roof, right over the balcony railing, out the window. So I don't have to lift them up. Once I've captured the legs and the arms, I just finish right behind the victim's head, above the firefighter's SCBA air cylinder.
Pull out your webbing, deploy it to the side along with the water knot, secure one leg, And then the second, with an underhand grip, seesaw the webbing up high on the victim's hips, flip into an overhand grip, secure the victim's hands, and then pull up the side axis underneath the arms, and you can finish either by twisting or using the lace knot.